You're tuned into the VSX Digital Sports Network.
Hello, Las Vegas, and everyone around the world. Welcome to the Webb Report for April the 6th. I am your host, Scotty Beam 'em Up Webb, and you can catch the show at the VSX Digital Networks. You can follow me on Twitter at Webby20MLB and follow VSX at All Sports No Bull. Now listen to the show on the Riffer app. Get into micro podcasting. Avoid getting into get all the information you need right away, quick to the point. No more crazy, boring sports talk. Download the Riffer app from your app store today. Try Fubo TV, 7 days free, no credit check, no deposit, or hidden fees. Get strong VPN. Protect your internet bets. Protect your shopping. Go online meetings. It's all 40% off. Go to VSX.com. Today we're going to talk a little bit about yesterday. We had a quick recap. Recap was a 2-1 day yesterday. The show we featured the Kansas City Royals. The Royals won 3-0, and we also played on Minnesota Twins yesterday. Minnesota Twins won, I think it was 15-6 or something like that. And we played on the Milwaukee Brewers, who got beat 5-3. So we were 2-1 yesterday, and as a day goes, 2-1 is one of the ways we make money. So 2-1 throughout the season will be a 67 win percent, and that's where we want to be. Ultimately, at the end of this, we want to be in the neighborhood of 53-54% wins, and then we're making money. My goal is to be more in the 55-57% range. We're not quite there yet. We're pretty far off from that, but we will get there. So let's talk a little bit about what today brings. There's two plays today we're going to talk about, but let's frame it up so that you understand kind of what we're doing. At the beginning of a baseball season, there is the hardest time for a handicapper. A handicapper is someone who uses data to handicap the teams and originate their own line, and that's what I do. There's other people who are handicappers that will don't need any of that information. They just look at the betting market, and then based on what the betting market does, they make their plays based off of where the money comes in. They try to figure out what the sports book needs, and if the sports book needs it, they want to bet on it. So what we're doing is originating lines. So we need to know the teams. We need to know the pitchers. We need to know all the data we can get. And at the beginning of a season, there isn't any. So we run into the problem of utilizing numbers, and where do we get them from? My past history has been to utilize the information that comes from the last 7 games, or not 7 games, the last month or so of the season of the previous one, and then utilize that information as it typically rolls into a new season. So far this year, we are not doing well with that number, and I think that a lot of it has to do with what last season was. Last season was a 60-game sprint, so to speak. It wasn't a 162-game marathon like they normally are. So the data and the numbers and the things are askew. So we made an adjustment to that. We did that yesterday. We started to use projected numbers, and we're not using data from the year before as a means to get our results. And yesterday was a little better. So today we're going to introduce another item for early season wagering, and this is the one where we talk about performance and regression to the mean. So let's just talk about that for a second so that we all understand what regression to the mean means and what my definition of that is. And ultimately, when an event occurs, it has a rating, whether it was good, bad, or very good. And then the very next time it occurs, it's either going to be above or below the first one. So then that starts to set an average or a mean between the two. The third time they go, it's going to establish the mean itself. So typically what you'll find is establishing that mean means in our ramifications. A pitcher is going to have a great start, he's going to have a poor start, and he's going to have an average start in his first 3 starts, unless you're one of the elite pitchers. And you have to caution yourself. The elite pitchers, say someone like Glass now, or someone like Scherzer and these guys, DeGrom and Cole, those guys are pretty elite at this point. Those guys have the ability to go back to back to back great performances because that's why they're elite. So they don't really have that downfall game. Every other pitcher, even good ones that aren't elite ones, will fall into this. So today we're going to look at how does that work. And I use game score, and you've heard me say that several times. But game score is a numerical clarification of a pitcher. So a game score is calculated based off of what a pitcher's performance was, not whether he won the game, lost the game, but it's more about how many innings he pitched, how good he pitched in those innings with strikeouts, walks, hits, runs, all that kind of stuff, and he comes up with a score. 50 is average, and 60 is ace-like numbers. Above 60 is just phenomenal, and below 50 is below average, and those numbers are typically guys that get bombed. So what we can do is we can look at, now that pitchers starting today have already pitched once, we can see what their game score was in the first game, and then we can try to figure out whether or not this can work in terms of a predictive measure. So the first game I want to talk about, and the first game that we're going to wager on, is going to be the St. Louis Cardinals, and they are going to be playing the Miami Marlins. They start at 6:40. This is John Gant for St. Louis, and this is Sandy Alcantara for Miami. The rotation number on these games is 903, 904. The line is Miami minus 133. The line opened at St. Louis minus 110. My line was Miami minus 105. So the Miami minus 133 and my line at minus 105, that's 28 basis points favoring St. Louis in this game. So that gives us a 5% edge on the EV positive. So we're going to try to expand on that and see if that makes it a good wager or not. And the first thing that comes to mind, and what we talked about just a minute ago with the pitching performance, Sandy Alcantara pitched a super game against the Rays his first time out. His game score was 75. Now, his average over the last 7 games is a 56. So that gives you an indication that these guys don't pitch high like that every single time out. So we can assume that he is going to have hit his high mark. So he's either going to pitch an average game today, or he's going to pitch a below average game today. And then looking at the hitting, the St. Louis Cardinals are a weighted runs created plus 89, and Miami is a weighted runs created plus 90. So they're very even. They're both below average. Average is 100. There's only 9 teams currently that are above average. So below average hitting is not an unexpected thing at this point. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the idea that that's a pretty even matchup. And then we look at the bullpen, and in the bullpen, St. Louis is a little bit ahead when you look at the xFIP and Sierra numbers, because those are the predictive measures. But when it comes to those areas, I said St. Louis was ahead. They're ahead in WAR. But when it looks at the predictive measures, Miami's numbers are a little better. So that tends for me to believe that we want to stay away from the St. Louis bullpen. So that gives us a first 5 opportunity. So let's look at the first 5 innings with St. Louis and Miami. And we get a plus 110 value there. And I kind of like that. So when you look at it from a perspective of who is John Gant, John Gant is a pitcher that pitched a lot of innings last year in relief. He didn't start any games for St. Louis. He was stretched out in the spring, so he's capable of going 5 innings or so today, and that's all we need him to go because we're going to go first 5 here. His predictive number is 4.65 in terms of the FIP number, and Alcantara's predictive number today in terms of XFIP is 4.31, so very, very similar. So we have a good opportunity here to capitalize off of the idea that we're going to get Alcantara at not his best, and we're going to get John Gant making his first start and doing well. What I liked about him, too, was he has a ground ball rate of 54%, which is above average. That means he keeps the ball on the ground and keeps damaging blows down. And Miami's offense has been a little bit struggly, except for that one game they put up a bunch of runs against the Rays. Other than that, they really haven't scored many runs. So I like St. Louis in this game, and I think that gives us a lot of value. So that's game number one. We're going to take the St. Louis Cardinals and John Gant plus 110 in the first 5 innings today. And then the second game is very similar, except that we're going to be going the opposite direction. It's going to be a game where the Arizona Diamondbacks are playing the Colorado Rockies. This is Luke Weaver against German Marquez. The line in this game is Colorado at minus 120. You could have got him at 118 if you really got up this morning and took him. But and then my line is the same. It's minus 118, so their value is right there. Even good line. Doesn't have a line value that way, where the other game did. This is rotation number 911, 912. I'm going to be on the Colorado Rockies minus the 120 today. I like the idea of two things in this one. Number one, we have German Marquez, who had a really rough start the first time out, and his game score was a 39. He is a projected 4.2 WAR guy, and that means there's only a handful of pitchers, the elite ones, who are above him in projected WAR. So he's an ace pitcher for Colorado. And Weaver is a 1.7 projected WAR. He's a number 4 starter for Arizona. And Arizona struggles to score runs. Not that Colorado's the greatest team in the world at scoring runs, but we have an ace pitcher off of a poor start. That means he's either going to pitch an average game or an above average game, and I like that. It's a home game for Colorado. I like that. And I like the idea that the Rockies are going to hold down Arizona to scoring very few runs. So we're going to take Colorado minus the 120 today. Those are our two plays. I hope we have a great day, and thanks for watching. Hello, Las Vegas.